Before we start this video, I just want to let you guys know that we are now officially sponsored by Match Bingo. We need every single one of you right now to click the link down below in the description. I mean right now, literally click the description right now and download the app. This is basically bingo with a twist. Instead of trying to call out numbers, you're trying to call out big moments in a match, like, let's say, goals, offsides, fouls. These are the sorts of games that you're trying to call out. And it is a gambling game, but you can gamble responsibly because you only can do a max of £2 per game. So you don't have to worry about spending too much or throwing too much money down the drain or anything. You can even do a couple free games if you just want to dip your toe in and get a little idea of what the app is about. So again, guys, if you guys do want to get involved, click the link right now. Click the link in the description below. Helps out the channel, and it is also a really fun game to do as well. So guys, again, click the link, download the app, and we'll see you over there.
Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex and welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at some of the latest Chelsea news around the club. We've got some transfer rumours, we've got some transfer news, and we've also got the ownership, meaning Todd Boehly, who's come out and said a few words regarding the club as well. So let's get straight into it, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do, and leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoy as well. But yeah, Boehly's had a one-on-one Q&A in Hollywood, and he said a couple of things, some of which people agree with, some of which people might not agree with, but we'll just go through it. So he talked about the last two games that we've had, 2.5 games, and he basically said it was very fluid. It's the way we drew it up, and when we came out of the back, built up, and we moved up the pitch, it was very organised, and the number of shots that we had on board. In the 2.5 games, you could really see what we were working on coming together. And he said even the commentary has changed over the last 2.5 games. He said, I've never seen it change so quickly. So he was referring to the second half of Aston Villa when we drew 2-2, the Tottenham win 2-0, and the West Ham win, which was 5-0. Now, we've already heard Boehly speak a couple of times about Chelsea. He's very much adamant on the fact that this is a long-term process. And he said that from day one, in fairness to him. And you can see with the recruitment strategy, the way we're trying to do things, this is obvious, right? They are trying to recruit young players, develop those players, and then build them into the team, or even ship them off to one of the feeder clubs like Strasbourg. And I'm sure there'll be more coming, in the next few years as well. Whether they're there to develop in France or maybe just to sell on for a profit. So that seems to be the model at the moment. If you disagree with that, let me know in the comments. It'd be interesting to see what you guys think. But yeah, he said a little bit more than that as well. He spoke about Cole Palmer becoming a household name in the US. He hopes that that will happen. He said he's a phenomenon for us, and we're thinking hard about how we can continue to expand our brand in the United States, and he said that's ultimately a priority as well. And there's some people that are outraged about this because he's speaking about growing the Chelsea brand in the United States rather than talking about what Cole Palmer's going to win for Chelsea. He's talking about how we're going to basically improve the business, bring in more revenue. To be frank, I don't think that it's really that bad what he said, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think any owner would want to expand their brand, and they would want to bring in more money for the club. And yeah, I don't think what Todd Boehly's saying is anything special. So people that are outraged with that, I don't really understand that, to be honest with you. If you had a business, if you owned a football club, wouldn't you want to expand that as well? Wouldn't you want to have more fans so that you would sell more shirts and make more money to be able to buy better players and reinvest in the club? That just seems logical to me. But some fans don't like it, and that's fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. And going off what I just said, he didn't just talk about growing the brand, right? He also did speak about winning, and he said that he thinks winning is at the top of things that's most important for Chelsea. And he said when you're attracting a new fan, the key is to have something that's very, very attractive. And if any of you are maybe a little bit older than I am and you have kids, There's a lot of kids out there, 9, 10 years old. Who do they support? Who do you see these kids wearing the shirts of? I'm not even joking. I see so many kids these days wearing Man City shirts. And for me, it's ridiculous, because everyone that's sort of over 20, 30, we all know what we think of Man City and what Man City were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They were nothing. And only recently they've become a relevant club. And because of their success, their fan base is growing. The whole club is growing in that sense. They've been one of the most successful clubs since Pep Guardiola's come in. The most successful club in England. So, yeah, I think that's certainly a good thing to see. Boehly recognises that Chelsea need to win in order to grow. And that's obvious. If you don't win, then why would any new fan want to support Chelsea instead of Man City or an Arsenal or another team like that? Obviously, if you're a real fan, you wouldn't use that to choose your team. You would either have a team that, your family's passed down over generations. Like my dad was a Chelsea fan. My son will probably be a Chelsea fan as well. I hope so. And that's the way it goes for most people. But some kids, they just look at the team that's winning and that's how they choose their team. So that makes sense. He also spoke about the fact that they're fishing in different countries, in different continents to try and recruit players, specifically Argentina and Brazil. He said part of the long-range plan will really be to extend the brand as much as possible to build a fan base, because ultimately the larger our fan base grows, the more competitive we'll be able to be, because the salary caps are based on revenue. And for me, that's spot on. You've got to search in these different markets. In certain markets, you'll pay a premium on players. In other markets, you might get maybe a more discounted price. And still be able to find better talents. There's lots of players in Argentina and Brazil that a lot of European clubs might not pay attention to, but we seem to be increasingly active within that market, almost following the model of Real Madrid with what they did with Rodrigo and Vinicius a few years back. We're starting to follow suit in a way, and I'm going to get into why that is a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, I mean, it's just honestly, I don't see many things to be outraged at in terms of what Todd Boehly said. I think what he's saying is just facts. I don't think it's really that opinionated anyway, so I don't think you could disagree with that. What he's talking about is very logical. If the club does well on the pitch, they'll do well off the pitch. And ultimately, they want to grow their revenue in the United States and all these other countries so they can bring in more money and attract better players. I mean, tell me if I'm missing something, guys. Obviously, these owners are interested in the financial aspect of the club. I'm not sitting here being delusional, but I'm also looking at this saying, well, if the club brings in more money, we can bring in better players. As a fan, that's what I want to see, and that's great. So, yeah, there's not really much more to say on that side. Moving on to another piece of news that's come out recently. Chelsea have been put off for a potential deal for Nico Williams from Atletico Bilbao after he's been basically asking for more than 172 grand a week, which is what he currently earns. He would like to earn more than that if he gets a move away. So we've been put off by that deal, apparently, according to Ben Jacobs. And this isn't really a big issue. I mean, I don't understand why we were linked with the guy in the first place. Personally, I don't think that this is a priority. He's a right winger. We have lots of right wingers in the market. We've got upcoming right wingers with Angelo, Kendra Pires. We've got wingers that are already in the squad that need the game time, like Madueke. We know Cole Palmer can play on the right as well. So that is a position that is currently overflowed, in my opinion. There's no need to reinvest in that. Focus on the positions you need to focus on. Look at the striker position, the defence, even the left wing as well, because I think Sterling's a bum. He needs to go. Whether he goes is another story, but if he does, you need a replacement there. Or better still, get someone in now who can just take his place from the get-go. That's where I stand on Sterling. But then going back to the right wingers, we are actually very, very close to completing a deal for Estevão Willian, who is a 17-year-old Brazilian player. He plays for Palmeiras in Brazil. In his career, his career, he's played 33 games in all competitions. He scored 9 goals, got 4 assists. All right, not a lot of experience for this kid, but obviously very, very high in demand. There's lots of clubs that have been looking at him, but we seem to have beaten everyone to it because it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of competition. We wanted to originally pay 25 million plus add-ons. Palmeiras wanted more, with the add-ons reaching 60 million. I think Bayern Munich were also interested as well, but we seem to have struck a deal in recent time, which means that he will become a Chelsea player. The personal terms have all been agreed with the club. I think the main bid is going to be 27.5 million plus add-ons, which I presume will reach around 60 million as well. So yeah, I've watched a few compilations of this player. A different looking player to Kendry Pires, who I actually think is better than Estevão Willian, if I'm being brutally honest. For me, I just prefer what I've seen with Pires. He looks a little bit more composed on the ball, a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, maybe mature on the ball as well, even though I think he actually might be younger. But I mean, there's no doubt that this player, Estevão Willian, is a top player as well for his age group. He is good with his left foot, he's good with his right foot, he scores on both sides, he takes corners, he takes free kicks, he scores as well from free kicks. And to be given such a senior role in a team like Palmeiras in Brazil, at any age is respectable, but to be 17 years old and to be performing the way he is, and obviously linked with this move, the man is clearly doing something right. In fact, he's not even a man yet. He's 17 years old. 17 years old. I mean, this just goes to show the way the market's going in football right now. You have to take these risks and try and sign these young players. Otherwise, you miss out. And we know that it's worked for Real Madrid. It's worked for, Vinicius and Rodrigo. It took them a while to break in and develop and become starters, but eventually it clicked. And look at where Real Madrid are now. Champions League finalists. They've won Champions Leagues with those players as well. La Ligas. And that seems to have paid off. So if this plan is anything similar to Real Madrid, we know that it works. We just need the players to produce. But ultimately, time will tell. This isn't something we're going to figure out in the next year or two. This is a 5-year project, really, because when you're 17, I mean, even when you're 21, you're still not really ready in that sense. But we obviously see something very, very special in this player. So yeah, they're calling him the Messinho in Brazil. So he must be pretty good. And then just one last thing, we're being linked with Emi Martinez as a goalkeeper from Aston Villa, who, by the way, I think Emi Martinez is a fantastic player. I think he's a really good goalkeeper, and I think that Aston Villa were very, very smart buying him from Arsenal in the first place, because he wanted game time. He wasn't getting it at Arsenal, and just a very difficult situation for him down there. But Aston Villa, he's been one of their best players. Obviously, we know he's a World Cup winner as well. Would I want to sign Emi Martinez? No. Why? Petrovic. Why would I want to give up Petrovic for Emi Martinez? The guy's in his 30s. Petrovic is a young player we've just brought in from the MLS. He's been fantastic for us this season. And you want to talk about linking us to another goalkeeper? No, thank you. No, thank you. Unless Emi Martinez has come in to be number 2, I don't want him. Because I think we can all agree Sanchez isn't good enough. I wouldn't mind a number 2. But certainly not as a number 1. It makes no sense to me. So yeah, very, very strange if the recruitment team are looking at this player, unless it is as a backup role for Petrovic. Just a strange link, a very strange link. But Chelsea link with all types of players. Maybe this is just something that's going around to do the rounds and get a few clicks, you know, for the journalists. But that's what's being said, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video as well. Appreciate you all for watching.